Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man. The fault.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Okay.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
No.
Turn up your mind.
This is a good team. This is Governor Paul Richard LePage. I would like to talk to you about your comments about my being a racist, you cocksucker. And I want to talk to you. I want you to prove that I'm a racist. I've spent my life helping black people, and you little son of a bitch, socialist cocksucker, I need you to, I want you to record this and make it public because I am after you. Thank you.
Hey, you're right.
All right. So Governor Paul LePage left us on Friday with that voicemail that was bleeped on the national news, except that I don't have to because we don't answer to anybody but you. So hi, everybody. Happy Monday.
Tremendous.
Happy Monday. Hope everything is good with you today. I think we had the perviest weekend ever, including the Beyonce performance, which even I got off on. I had to tweet something. I didn't know what to tweet about that. So I just said she canceled the award show because it became the Beyonce 16 minutes of a melange of songs. It was fierce. It was unbelievable. And then little Brittany made her big return, and everybody went, I think you want popcorn? I'll get the lemonade. All right, I'll see you upstairs. Oh, God, was that bad? Wasn't that bad? That was really bad. That was like painfully bad. That was like Justin Timberlake was totally, right. Totally right. Jessica Biel, right one. Well, they dated back in the day, in the 90s, and God, it's so hard to believe 90s, 2000. It's like 20-something years ago. And she looked it. It was bad. It was, but Beyonce, holy crap. I don't even know. I mean, she looked like, I love the fur wings. The last costume change, the fur. Oh, that was like outrageous. And all Howard wants to know is two things. He wants to know, how does she make her butt do that? And can I do it? No, I can't. White people can't dance. White people also can't read or write. I spent a lot of time today over the weekend trying to debate the white supremacists. I invited them in and I tried to debate them. Pepe, come on in, everybody, come on in. But they're horrifying. They're in their own way. They're pervs. Do you know what I mean? It's like but it was such a weekend of perviture. It's just they fit in so. Now let me ask you, white supremacists, Beyonce with the perfect little scoops of ice cream back there. I don't know how wow, that is like magical. It truly is. I mean, if I could do that, I would rule the world. There's no question. But I can't. But I mean, would you rather have that or Brittany? These are your choices if you're a white supremacist. A white nationalist, a racialist, facialist. They're very strange people. But it started on Friday with Paul LePage. We have to prove that he's a racist. So let's just do that real quick.
Number one, I got a bill into the legislature right now to take the traffickers. Now, the traffickers, these are people that take drugs. These are guys that are named D-Money, Smoothie, Shifty, these type of guys that come from Connecticut, New York. They come up here, they sell their heroin, then they go back home. Incidentally, half the time they impregnate a young white girl before they leave. Which is a real sad thing, because then we have another issue that we got to deal with down the road.
Okay, so D-Money, Swifty, and Smoothie are coming there raping the white girls after they sell their heroin, except that in the newspaper, the last guy who was just arrested in Maine for selling 1,000 bags of the heroin was a lily white dude. Really creepy looking, but a lily white dude. So LePage has this magical thinking going on in his head where all the pill mills, the heroin dealers, the the people who are addicted to heroin in this country, predominantly white these days. Yeah. Because we had such national scorn for the heroin after our troops came back from Vietnam addicted to the stuff. Because, it does come from Asia. And so, although the Mexicans do a fine job in the Sierra Madres, they grow it there. But used to be that all the heroin came from, the Golden Triangle, which is not Britney Spears, by the way. I think she was trying to send some heroin message with that golden outfit with the triangle down below. I don't know. I don't know what she was working on there, but it didn't work. But, I mean, you just kind of think about this white epidemic that's plaguing America. It is heroin. I want to talk about that today. But first, I think right there we've disposed of the question whether or not Governor of Maine, Republican Paul LePage, is a racist. I think he's, done that for himself. I think that's easily noticed because Maine is like Lily White. And he's got a big ass heroin. In fact, so many places that are lily white. Methamphetamine problem, pill mill problem, heroin problem. The whole country is like a mess with drugs, just a mess. And the cost for this drug usage, the cost for in lives, in healthcare, in imprisonment, and law enforcement, all this. It's just an amazing thing. And yet you see all the police presence. Not where the white people are abusing the heroin. You see all the police presence in places where they're not abusing the heroin, in black neighborhoods. Where there's turf wars. The good old fashioned crap. But anyway, it's just perv weekend because, well, first of all, let me get this out of the way. Last night capped off perv weekend because perv weekend started with Bannon being exposed as an anti-Semite spousal abuser. Did you read that you did? Oh my God. Bannon, who is, one of the alt-right's favorite people. Let's just put it that way. And I refuse to call them that because it's a politically correct name for people who eschew political correctness, so therefore they don't deserve it. They deserve to be called what they are, which is white racists. They are hideous, racists. They consider everybody that is not like them, and what they are like, I have no clue. I tried to explore. I tried to ask, where are you from and what do you do? And you can't get an answer. But I'm pretty sure that, they know Bannon's name, and they've read this, swill that he posts on Breitbart, and they love it, and they worship at his, disgusting little pervy feet. But it turns out that this guy didn't want his daughter to go to a school in Los Angeles, a private school, because he thought that there were too many Jews in the school. And you know what? I heard old-fashioned words this weekend that I haven't heard since, I don't know, I never really heard them. That's the thing. I never heard these words unless I was, south of the Mason-Dixon. One time I heard it, directed at me. But the word, it's such a gross word. I can't even make myself say it. But it's like one of those old-fashioned 1960s sort of expressions for a Jew that goes right along. They had ones for Italians. They had words like that for Irish. They had words like that for, well, we all know what the black, the word for the blacks is, because it got so completely out of control that Americans of a decent nature said, I won't use it anymore. Well, back in the day, my family said we wouldn't use any of those words. We wouldn't use any of them. So the words that were used toward me this weekend were words I still haven't heard them out loud, except when I said, Howard, you won't believe it. Look what they're calling me. And he goes, what are they calling you? And I said it. And he goes, I haven't heard that since, 1964. I was like, well, I was, too young to have heard it. And I just remember in my house, my mother, would say to, her friends who would come and play mahjong, that they were not allowed to use these words in the house because she didn't want the girls to hear them. And the girls were me and my sister. So I never really heard them. But it's so fascinating that everything old is new again. They're making a comeback with these words, for preppers in Idaho. or some such place. But yeah, I tried to argue with them. I tried to take them on. And then it turns out Bannon complained about the Jews at his daughter's school. Because I wondered, what is this resurgence in the hating of the Jews? Because that took a break for a little while. I think the Anti-Defamation League, did a pretty good job of making it unpopular and making it at your own peril. I think there were a lot of groups that, the NAACP and just a lot of groups got very involved in the slang words that racists used and made them feel so unwelcome in normal society that they became fringy. Well, it's all back again. It's all back again. But now I understand why they love Bannon so much, because Bannon didn't want his daughters going to the Archer School for Girls in Los Angeles because there were too many Jews enrolled at the elite institution. Quote, the biggest problem he had with Archer is the number of Jews that attend, Picard said in her statement signed on June 27, 2007. And that was his ex-wife, who also claimed he abused her, that he choked her. And there were police reports generated where the police noted how upset she was and that, they could see visible signs of physical abuse and blah, blah, blah. So, and also she apparently claimed she was intimidated by Bannon's lawyer to leave town before her deposition could be taken. And then he settled with her, they called her and told her when she could come back into town. She did all this for a settlement, and then she settled, and now they're just apparently great friends. But that's why I think they really dig him, and that's why Trump hiring him and Trump putting him on as part of a huge part of the campaign was very appealing and very stirring for these people who claim to also. I mean, this is really interesting. They claim to hate the Republican Party. Okay, they claim to hate George W. Bush. They don't want me to bring him up as an example. They don't want me to, go back and show how, the economy always does better under Democratic presidents than it does under Republican presidents. They don't want me to show them, that Bush took us to war against an unarmed nation and therefore unleashed the wrath of, ISIS upon the world. They don't want to talk about that. They're not interested. They much prefer, the early 1400s stories of Jewish bankers and crap like that. This is where they are. It's very sick. It's like the most amazing thing to try and argue with that. And I did try and argue. I mean, I didn't want to call them names. They wanted to call me, and that was fine. I would say, ooh, that's a devastating argument. Let's hash it out. And really, they don't live in reality. But you had this whole thing started with LePage on Friday, and then this Bannon story comes out that he's an anti-Semite as well as a spousal abuser, and then you find out that Ivana Trump also in the divorce papers said that Donald raped her, and then you see that the Trump campaign argues against this by saying, oh, no, not that he didn't, but that you can't rape your wife, which is untrue under our law. So, it's just so interesting how, all these guys who are misogynistic and, anti-Semitic, really super racist, obviously. I mean, they haven't seen a black or a brown person that they would consider, a friend or friend material. I don't think ever. And so, God only knows, if they've ever talked to somebody of a different race or a different, I don't know. I have no idea because they won't answer your questions. But, and then the whole thing caps off yesterday with Anthony Weiner in the creepiest picture ever, to the point where I said, Howard was reading it in the Daily Mail and the New York Post. I go, stop reading Murdoch papers. Because it was so creepy. I told him there's no way that could be true, but it is. Anthony Weiner is laying in his bed in New York City with his 5-year-old son sleeping next to him, having some conversation with a woman, not his wife, out west somewhere, on Twitter, but in the message part of Twitter, thinking it's all private and stuff. And he's only in his underwears, and he's talking to her about somebody climbed into my bed and takes a photo. And now, at first I thought, the photo's pretty innocent. I mean, it's a father. Then I find out, then I actually saw the picture, sharpened a bit. Damn, Anthony. Damn, man is packing. But This morning, Huma Abedin cleared up my question of whether or not this was an innocent, conversation by separating from him.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit RandiRhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.